The season has entered its most critical phase. It's time for the NBA playoffs. Okay, actually, it's been time for the NBA playoffs for like the last couple of weeks anyways, but still. I mean, I just got the webcam yesterday, and then... Anyways, there's a number of great playoff series going on right now, and here are a couple of them. I got my handy-dandy notes on the side. The Thunder versus the Lakers. Oh, great series. The Spurs versus the Clippers. The Pacers versus the Heat. And then the Celtics versus the 76ers. Let me come off the bat and say I have absolutely no interest in that series. I just want to see somebody beat the crap out of somebody. I'm a Chicago fan. I don't like either team. Oh well. But just to go down a quick rundown of who wins the series first, and then why they would win the series. Now, I believe the Thunder are going to beat the Lakers, hands down. I think the Spurs are going to beat the Clippers, but then again, they already won 3 games out of the series, and even though it's like 10:56 at night, I'm pretty sure they just won the last game too. Pacers versus the Heat. The Eastern Conference playoff games are a little bit different. They're a little bit harder to decide, but I still believe the Pacers are going to win this series overall. And then with the 76ers and the Celtics, Celtics are going to win the series, but I expect that series to either go to 6 or 7 games. Now, why? Why did the Thunder beat the Lakers? They have a younger element. The Lakers' front court isn't exactly playing up to its full potential right now. Kobe Bryant, while he's a legendary Hall of Famer, he is not playing up to his usual self. Yes, you've seen flashes of him being the Black Mamba in this series, but let's face it, he's only got 1 or 2 more years left in him right now. Maybe not even 2. He's probably only got 1 right now. And Thunder are just emerging as a young superpower. They have Kevin Durant, they have James Harden, they have Russell Westbrook, and Serge Ibaka. Hell, Serge Ibaka didn't even know how to play basketball 5 years ago, and he's still probably better than half the Lakers team. But nonetheless, they're winning this series through interior passing. They're winning off of clutch shots. They're winning off of their points in transition. The Thunder are going to win this series because not only they are the younger team, but the better team. The Lakers are going to have to rethink a number of different things this offseason, and the least of which being the future past Kobe Bryant. Now, Spurs versus Clippers series is a little bit different. The Spurs are coming in with a complete... it seems like half their freaking roster is older than John McCain, and then the other half of the roster, it seems like they were just born yesterday. But, you know what? Greg Popovich is he's mixing them together very well. They're starting to play very well. Tim Duncan is looking like his old self for a little bit. I mean, God. Tony Parker just came off an MVP season. And Manu Ginobili's finally back and healthy again. While the Clippers are still a young team, and while they're a highlight reel, they're not exactly... I don't know. I knew they were going to make the playoffs this year. I just didn't think they'd even make it to the second round. I honestly thought they were going to lose to the Grizzlies in the first round. I even had money on the Grizzlies in the first round. Yeah, so I'm not a sports analyst, but nonetheless, I still think the Spurs are going to win that series. Getting to the next series, the Eastern Conference series are probably the most interesting of them all. The Pacers versus the Heat has gotten to a critical melting point right now. The Heat just won today, which means the series is tied 2-2. Chris Bosh went out a couple games ago. That was a huge blow to Miami, and you saw it in Game 3. With no inside presence, they had to figure their way out around Roy Hibbert and around Danny Granger. Which, I gotta be honest, Chicago fan, I don't like Danny Granger. Danny Granger can suck it. But, nonetheless, the Pacers are a good team. They're young. Frank Vogel's gotten them believing in his theories. Which is basically rebounding wins championships. But, nonetheless, the Heat are not going to win this series. Chris Bosh was too much of a hit on them. His neck accounted for, I'd like to say, over 50% of their rebounding. I mean, LeBron picked up most of it today. Like, he had 18 rebounds, and then D-Wade had a little bit on the side, but they're going to struggle without him in the middle. The people you got backing him up, Ronnie Turioff, Dexter Pittman, Udonis Haslem. Not exactly names that strike fear in somebody. And Chris Bosh doesn't strike fear in anybody, but at the very least, when you underestimate him, he can drop 30 points a game and get 15 rebounds, and then he'll make you start believing in him again. The Pacers just have a younger element, or they have a younger element right now, which youth doesn't. Don't get me wrong. Youth isn't exactly what wins you the games. What wins you the game is better coaching. And Frank Vogel at this point is a better coach than Eric Spoelstra. He has 2 superstars and a team full of duds. While Frank Vogel has a bunch of really good players, a couple of all-stars on his team, in Roy Hibbert, and I believe even though I don't even like Danny Granger, he should be an all-star. I mean, he can score. Pacers win the series. And how am I going to exactly call this? I don't know. Shoot, I'll call it 5-3. I sound retarded. 4-3. Game 7. Once again, I'm not an analyst. Either way. Then there's the Celtics versus the 76ers. Now, it's a little bit different for this series. I personally have no interest in this series just because the 76ers just eliminated the Bulls. And the Celtics, I have harbored a hatred for them since the 07-08 season when they knocked the Bulls out in a 7-game series after 4 goddamn overtime games. 4! Or was it 3? But I believe it was 4! Either way. If anything, I believe the Celtics win this series just because their core big threes got one last run in them. They're just like the San Antonio Spurs. Half of their players are probably going to either retire or become free agents after the season, so you might as well give it one last title shot. The 76ers are still a young team, relatively inexperienced, and Andre Iguodala is their only superstar at this point. Evan Turner and Lou Williams, they're good scorers, but they're not exactly people that strike fear in somebody's heart. I mean, come on. When you have to face somebody like Spencer Hawes, who may be a 7-foot-tall, clumsy jackass, you don't exactly feel fear from him. So I gotta be honest, I like the retro jerseys from the 76ers much better than this patriotic bullcrap they have on. I love America, don't get me wrong, but the black jerseys, the ones that Allen Iverson used to wear, were way better. But nonetheless, that's the playoffs in a nutshell, and that's my opinion of it. And that's the opinion of a zealot. Now, what about yours? Hit me up on Facebook. That's right, I don't have a Facebook anymore. Hit me up on YouTube. Comment on the video. Say whatever you want to. Yeah, you can even be a douchebag for this video. I don't really care. Go ahead. Good luck. Signing off.